Good morning. My name is Megan McVeigh, and as president of the class 2007, I would like to welcome you to today's program. I would like to thank all the veterans for attending and the administration for allowing us to make this program possible to honor the men and women who have served our country. Veterans Day should be one of the most important holidays to all of us. However, many people do not realize the importance of the service that our veterans have given. Throughout our nation's history, thousands of men and women have surrendered their lives to endure our freedom. Therefore, we should look at this day by remembering the sacrifices, determination, and courage of all those who fought so gallantly. President Woodrow Wilson stated, "To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service, and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given America to show sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nation." Today, we will recognize the branches of our armed forces and also honor the service each group has provided. We will remember the heroes of our country, celebrate liberty, and give justice to each American war. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the veterans for all the service they have bestowed. If not for you, we would not be permitted to celebrate this day in respect of your duties. You are greatly appreciated by your country. So on behalf of the class of 2007, I would like to welcome you to this year's program, Honoring Our Veterans. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brittany Young, and I will be introducing the Star-Spangled Banner. The Star-Spangled Banner is one of our greatest symbols of patriotism. Francis Scott Key began writing it at the Battle of Fort McHenry during the War of 1812. While being held captive aboard a ship, he watched the battle rage through the night and awoke to see the flag waving over the fort. This was his inspiration for the poem. In 1931, the Star-Spangled Banner was adapted as our national anthem and is played before most public events. Today, the Austin High School Band, under the direction of Mr. Raymond Bruce III, will accompany Nicole Derrick in its performance.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
Hello, my name is Elena Wilson, and with me is Tasha Taylor. Today we will be leading you in the Pledge of Allegiance. But before, we'd like to give you a brief history. The Pledge of Allegiance was published by Francis Bellamy in September of 1892. Bellamy wrote, "Let the flag float over every schoolhouse in the land, and the exercise will be impressed upon our youth, the patriotic duty of citizenship." He also wrote the original 23 words of the Pledge of Allegiance, which included the word to.
The wording of the pledge has been changed 3 times. The first time, the flag of the United States was replaced with "My flag." In 1924, "of America" was added. On Flag Day in June of 1954, the words "under God" were added. That was the last change that Dwight D. Eisenhower approved. He said it was reaffirming the religious faith of the future. Today, we have controversy over the words "under God" in our pledge.
The Pledge of Allegiance has meaning to every word that is said.
I pledge allegiance. I promise to be true.
To the flag, to the symbol of our country.
Of the United States of America. A republic is a country where the people choose others to make laws for them. The government is for the people.
For which it stands. The flag means the country.
One nation, a single country.
Under God. The people believe in a supreme being.
Indivisible. The country cannot be split into parts.
With liberty and justice. With freedom and fairness.
For all, for each person in the country, you and me. When saying the Pledge of Allegiance, stand at attention, face the flag with your right hand over your heart. If not in uniform, remove hats with right hand and hold it at the left shoulder with your hand over your heart. Persons in uniform should remain silent, face the flag, and render the military salute.
Now will you please stand and place your right hand over your heart and face the flag while we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kristen Barrett. If you have been to any of our past Veterans Day programs, you should know what's next. If not, please listen closely as one special lady pours out her gratitude in the form of a song. Yulita Turner, an English teacher here at Austin High School, wrote this song for her father, who served in the Korean War as an Army corporal. Even though her father didn't talk much about the war, she understood the importance of what the men and women of the service give up so we can be what we are today, free. Mrs. Turner put a lot of time and effort into the vital battles of each war before she started writing the song. She wrote the lyrics and recorded them at home with help from her brother, who did the bass line. The rest of the music was recorded on her keyboard. This whole process took approximately a month. Ms. Turner is very honored to be able to perform her song for the veterans each year. In her own words, no song could truly pay adequate tribute to these brave men and women, our defenders of freedom.
My father was unable to make it this morning, but I think that he probably is watching. It is now. Perfect shining rows of white stones glisten in the sun. They sacrificed at Normandy, Heartbreak Ridge, Iraq, Saigon, heroes of their Constitution's truth. In quiet honor now they lie, though on foreign fields they died, and the flag still flies. Defenders of freedom, defenders of
the right to realize our dreams, defenders of the flag. Two black granite walls attest to the courage of the brave, the best, who fought for freedom's liberty. To agree or disagree, believers in their Constitution's truth. And unsung heroes live today, from Flanders fields to the sands of Kuwait. This land of the free is still home of the brave. Defenders of freedom, defenders of the flag, fighting for the right to worship and believe, the right to realize our dreams, defenders of the flag. From the fall of Crispus Attucks, bitter cold at Valley Forge, where the boots rotted from their feet and hunger became their war. From Iwo Jima's immortal flag to the scream of F-16s, thundering over desert sands in defense of a liberty. Defenders of freedom, defenders of the flag, fighting for the right to worship and believe, the right to realize our dreams, defenders of the flag, defenders of freedom, defenders of the flag, fighting for the right to worship and believe, the right to realize our dreams, the right to life and liberty, in the pursuit of happiness and peace, defenders of the flag. Thank you.
Veterans Day is the name America gave for the International Remembrance of Veterans, formerly known as Armistice Day. Armistice Day marks the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, when the Germans signed the armistice, or ceasefire. Armistice Day was first commemorated in the United States by President Wilson in 1919, but it wasn't made a legal holiday nationwide until 1938. In June of 1954, President Eisenhower signed a bill designating Armistice Day as Veterans Day. Veterans Day is now a day we honor and remember those who have fought for our freedom, deceased and living, and those who are still fighting today. It's important to learn the lessons of our country and our world, for they are what will guide us for a better tomorrow. Archibald MacLeish's poem, The Young Dead Soldier, displays this idea. The young dead soldiers do not speak, nevertheless they are heard in the still houses. Who has not heard them? They have a silence that speaks for them at night, and when the clock counts, they say, we were young, we have died, remember us. They say, we have done what we could, but until it is finished, it is not done. They say, we have given our lives, but until it is finished, no one can know what our lives gave. They say, our deaths are not ours,
They are yours. They will mean what you make them. They say whether our lives and our deaths were for peace and a new hope or for nothing, we cannot say. It is you who must say this. We leave you our deaths. Give them their meaning. We were young, they say. We have died. Remember us. Do not let the lives given to fight for the freedom go to waste. Learn from and remember those who have came before us. These brave and men and women granted us our freedom to worship, freedom to learn, and freedom to accomplish the dreams God has planted in our hearts. On behalf of Austin High School, America, my generation, and myself, I want to thank you for fighting for my freedom and personally tell you that I will do all that I can to make sure the sacrifices of your generation will not be wasted in mine. God bless America and God bless you. Thanks. I'll be right back. Hello, I'm Christina Stone. The Continental Army, which grew into the United States Army, had its beginnings even before the Revolutionary War. All 13 English colonies had militia that fought in the French and Indian Wars. Each colony, except Pennsylvania, had a standing militia in which able-bodied men between the ages of 16 and 60 were required to join. On June 14, 1775, the Continental Congress voted to raise 10 companies of riflemen for service in the Revolutionary War and to take charge of colonial militias that were then besieging the British in Boston. The next day, the Congress appointed George Washington General and Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. The flag of the United States Army was first introduced on June 14, 1956. Before that date, there had been no flag for the Army. The flag is made of white silk with an embroidered replica of the official seal of the former War Office, predecessor to the Department of the Army, in the center. It is 4 feet 4 inches in height and 5 feet 6 inches in length with yellow fringe on 3 sides. Beneath the seal in the center is a scarlet scroll on which are the words, United States Army. Beneath the scroll is the date 1775. God bless you all for being here, and may God especially shower his blessings on all America's veterans. At this time, we would like to recognize the veterans and currently enlisted men of the United States Army. Please hold your applause until I announce all the names. Donald Whitfield. Chester Meeks. James E.C. Fields. Bill Morgan. Richard Lowe. Matthew Hersey. Corey Conwell. Justin Goins. Harold Julian. John Trevue. Lee Bridgewater. Roy McKillop, Harry Dene, Hobens Andrews, Joshua Rodriguez, Ned Smith, Clyde Sufer, Paul St. John, Ernie Stone, Daryl Parks, Dale Turner, James Barnes, Monty Mont, Don Collins, Rick Horad, Don Davison, and John Kipanini. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Leanne Riddell, and I'm here to introduce the United States Marine Corps. On November 10, 1775, the Continental Army met in Philadelphia. On that day, they passed a resolution for 2 battalions of Marines to be raised, and that is when they were born. The United States Marine Corps did not only march the paths of our homeland, but they marched miles and miles of unfamiliar territory to keep us and our country safe from harm. Many Americans only think of Marines during wartime, but now see that they do so much more. The Marines were there to aid our southern states after the tragic hurricanes. They were also there when disastrous tornadoes tore away at their country for as far as the eye could see. In the eyes of a Marine, every person is someone in need of a helping hand. And it doesn't matter who you are, the help they give is equal to all. In conclusion, we are here today not only to honor the Marine Corps, but all the proud women and men of all the armed forces. They stand side by side, united as one. And because of this unity and bravery each of you has displayed, I now have the privilege to stand on this stage before you today. I personally want to say thank you. Now I'd like to recognize the members of the Marine Corps. Please hold your applause until all the names have been called. James Mayfield, Robert Collins, James Candless, and David East. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Brandy Terry, and it is my distinct pleasure to stand before you today and speak to you about the United States Navy. The idea for a Continental Navy first originated on October 13, 1775, at a meeting in Philadelphia. The Continental Congress voted for 2 sailing vessels, each fitted with carriage guns and swivel guns, and with an armed crew of 80 men each. Over the course of the Revolutionary War, our Navy sent to sea more than 50 kinds of various armed vessels, taking many British ships as prizes. No longer would the British hold superiority at sea. The Continental Navy played an instrumental part in helping our colonies gain their independence. Today, our Navy makes up a large part of our armed forces with 350,000 men and women on active duty. 36,000 of these men and women are currently deployed. Our Navy has 281 deployable battleships, with 122 of them being currently underway. We celebrate the birth of the Navy each year in October, not only to recognize the beginning of our Navy, but to honor the brave souls who have served before and to recognize those serving for our naval forces now. I will now announce the past and current members of the United States Navy who are present today. Please hold all applause until all names have been called. Jim Hume. Robert Craig, Bob Hubbard, Robert Crane, Donald Buchanan. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Barrett, and I'm greatly honored to be presenting the veterans and the United Air Force. When the United States entered into the First World War, the U.S. Army Air Service was formed as a part of the American Expeditionary Force, or the AEF. The Air Service provided a tactical support for the U.S. Army. It wasn't until 1926 that the Air Service was recognized as a branch of the Army and became the United States Army Air Corps, or the USAAC. Afterwards, the USAAC began testing new techniques such as air-to-air refueling and developed the first all-metal monoplane bomber and new fighters. The United States Air Force was created when Harry S. Truman signed the National Security Act of 1947. It came into effect on September 18, 1947, when Chief Justice Fred M. Vinson administered the oath of office to the first Secretary of the Air Force, Stuart Symington. I would like to honor past and present Air Force members in attendance today. When I read your names, please stand. And please hold your applause until after all names have been read. Roy Miranda. Ralph Chasteen. Willie Deaton. Tom Sexton. Tom McCandless. And Roy Dawson. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Coomer, and I'm here to announce the United States Coast Guard. Excuse me. The United States Coast Guard is a military organization that serves around the world and around the clock and protects the American public's most basic needs, our safety and security, environment, and our economy. The Coast Guard, a military multi-mission maritime service that has answered the calls of America's continuously over 211 years. Over the history, its roles as America's shield of freedom has remained constant, while its missions have evolved and expanded with the growing nation. Located within the Department of Homeland Security, the United States Coast Guard is a unique instrument of national security, comprised of a personal complement of active duty, reserved, civilian, and auxiliary members. And it provides a broad range of service in the American people in times of peace and war. The Coast Guard's 5 operating goals: maritime safety, protection of national resources, mobility, and maritime service. And maritime security, and national defense. Define the focus of the service's missions and enable it to touch everyone in the United States. Throughout all of its missions areas, the Coast Guard's greatest strength lies in its people. The Coast Guard's men and women are a highly motivated group of people who are committed to providing essential and vulnerable services to the American public. The United States Coast Guard is semper paratus, always ready to fulfill its goals of protecting America's safety, security, and environment and economy. No Coast Guards are resident today. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lacey Morgan, and I'm here to introduce to you the United States National Guard. In December, one of the oldest components of the armed forces will celebrate its 369th birthday. The Army National Guard is composed primarily of traditional guardsmen, civilians who serve the country, state, and community. The National Guard is one of the nation's longest enduring institutions, which consists of both federal and state roles. For state missions, the governor commands the Guard forces and is able to call the National Guard to action during local or statewide emergencies. The President The President of the United States may activate the National Guard at any time in the event of need for federal missions. In the past, there have been federal activations that include Guard units deployed to Bosnia and Kosovo for stabilization operations, as well as to the Middle East and other locations involving the war on terrorism. There are currently 320,000 active troops in the National Guard, and the numbers are continuously increasing. Without the men and women who serve our country and protect our homeland, the United States would not be what it is today. And now I'd like to introduce the veterans and those currently enlisted in the United States National Guard. Jim Day, who served 23 years. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Josh Powell, and I would like to thank you for joining us today. I would like to introduce the Austin Show Choir, New Dimensions, under the direction of Mr. Aaron Childress. We will be singing an a cappella version of America the Beautiful, composed by Samuel Ward. Without further ado, the Austin Show Choir.
Skies for.
Hello and good morning. I'm Aaron Wilson.
And I'm Crystal Holland.
And we're here today to honor the POW and MIAs. Observance of the POW MIAs represents the commitment and sacrifices made by soldiers who, because of unknown injury, being captured, or death, are still missing. This ceremony also honors these soldiers' families.
Our POW MIA flag was given to us several years ago by Gary Berry. Mr. Berry was a veteran himself. He fought in the Vietnam War. Berry passed away due to leukemia caused by Agent Orange, just before he was to present the flag to us personally.
In 1971, Miss Michael Hoff, the wife of an MIA and member of the National League of POW MIA families, recognized the need for a symbol of our POW and MIAs. Ms. Hoff contacted Norman Rivkees, the vice president of Annan & Company. Annan & Company's job was to provide flags to all United Nations states, and she had heard they had recently provided a flag for the People's Republic of China. Therefore, she decided to contact them for a request for the POW MIA flag. Mr. Ribkees was very considerate of the POW MIA matter and decided, along with Annan's advertising agency, that they would design the flag on behalf of the missing men. After approval from the League of Flags, the flags were sent for manufacturing.
On March 9, 1989, the official League flag was installed in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda as a result of the legislation passed overwhelmingly during the 100th Congress. In a demonstration of bipartisan congressional support, the leadership of both houses hosted the installation ceremony.
The POW MIA flag is black, and in the center is the black and white emblem of the League. The emblem is a white disc bearing in black silhouette the bust of a man, a watchtower with a guard holding a rifle, and a strand of barbed wire. POW MIA is in white letters above the disc, framing a white pointed star. Below the disc is a black and white wreath. Below the wreath is a motto in white letters, "You are not forgotten."
There are 7 days the POW MIA flag is flown. These days are Armed Forces Day, National POW MIA Recognition Day, Memorial Day, Flag Day, Independence Day, and Veterans Day. Today we honor those from our community who have suffered the hardships of war and making those words that are bared on the flag true. They are not forgotten. Thank you.
Hello, I am Ashley Terry, and with me is Amy Graybill. We have the right to stand before you today because of the great sacrifices made by many Scott County men and women. Men and women who not only put their lives on hold, but also put their lives on the line for both our future and our freedom.
It's hard to imagine what our country would be like if we did not have dedicated citizens who are willing to fight to protect our families and freedom. This country has been blessed by generations of brave men and women who have unhesitatingly sacrificed their lives so that other fellow Americans might continue to enjoy the precious gift of freedom that has been given to them. If our Scott County veterans had not answered our nation's cry for help, our world would be a very different place.
We have all heard people describe our veterans as courageous. Courage can be defined as moral or mental strength to withstand fear, danger, or hardship when threatened. Granted, our veterans are very courageous. I do not think this word alone can justify their character. Therefore, I would not describe them as courageous. I would instead describe them as heroic. A hero is someone who is not only courageous, but also an object of admiration and devotion. A hero is someone who is supremely noble and self-sacrificing. We should all remember and honor all of our Scott County veterans, and especially the 69 who gave the ultimate sacrifice, their life.
This is a time to reflect on our many freedoms. Today is your day, veterans. Today, we honor all of you who have made personal sacrifices, whether it is missing your child grow up, losing your best friends, your family, your life. If it had not been for your sacrifices, America would not be the great nation it is today.
In further celebration, Scott County has built a monument on the square in front of the Scott County Courthouse. It will be revealed tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. We strongly recommend that everyone attend the ceremony. Again, Scott County veterans, we thank you for your dedicated service.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Feltner. Today we would like to thank all the veterans who showed up today and also those who could not be with us. To commemorate your efforts, we have a song that very well symbolizes your valor. Patriotic Spectacular, arranged by Stephen Barnett. It will be performed by the Austin High School Band under the direction of Raymond Bruce III. Thank you.
And I'm Eric Campbell.
We would like to personally thank each and every one of you for coming today. The video you're about to see was made after the events that occurred on September 11th.
This video's purpose is to call Americans to rededicate their support to America, their soldiers, and its veterans. Today, over 1 million soldiers are on active duty.
Before we play the video, we would also like to explain the meaning of the flag on the front of the podium. It is a common sight in the homes of someone serving in the military.
A blue star in the center of the flag represents a soldier currently on active duty. A gold star represents a family member who has been killed while serving in their country.
All the soldiers serving their time today have become veterans of this great nation. This video is dedicated to all the veterans, old and new.
Thank you.
John 15:13 reads, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for his friends." So with this in mind, will you please rise and join me in a moment of silence as we honor those brave men and women who have fought for the freedoms we have today.
God Most High, we come to you on this beautiful afternoon to thank you so much for allowing us to gather here today, for shedding your Son's grace upon all of us. Right now, I would especially like to thank you for all the veterans present today, and also those who could not make it. Without them, our forefathers, we would not be able to gather here today. Thanks for the strength you have provided them, and I pray that you will continue to bless them for their duties to our nation. Give them hope, peace, guidance, and strength throughout their lives. Help them stay strong and focused in you, Father. Pave our paths in your ways. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Hello, my name is Trent Hensley. I'll be introducing the history and purpose of the bugle call known as TAPS. TAPS is known to all, has served as the single most important military bugle call. None is so easily recognized or more apt to render emotion than the call TAPS. The melody is both eloquent and haunting, and the history of its origin is interesting and somewhat clouded in controversy. In the British Army, a similar call is known as Last Post has been sounded over soldiers' graves since 1855. But the use of TAPS is unique with the United States military, since the call is sounded at funerals, the laying of wreaths, and memorial services. TAPS began as a revision to the signal for extinguished lights or lights out at the end of the day. Up until the Civil War, the infantry call for extinguished lights was the one set down in Silas Casey's Tactics, which had been borrowed from the French. The music for TAPS was adapted by Union General Daniel Butterfield for his brigade, the 3rd Brigade, 1st Division, 5th Army Corps, Army of the Potomac in July 1862. Daniel Butterfield wrote, "The call of TAPS did not seem to be so smooth, melodious, and musical as it should be, and I called in someone who could write music and practice a change in the call of TAPS until I had it suit my ear, and then got it to my taste without being able to write music or knowing the technical name of any note, but simply by ear. Arranged it as a friend of mine by the name of Norton describes. I did not recall him in connection with it, but his story is substantially correct. Will you do me a favor to send Norton a copy of this letter by your typewriter? I have none." For those of you who have never heard TAPS, the next time a veteran or an active soldier falls and you hear this powerful call, you will think of this day and remember the fallen, the missing in action, the prisoners of war, and the gone but not forgotten. Playing TAPS are Nicholas Feltner and Stephanie Hale.
I'm Kelly Gibson, and with me today is Paige Hall. On behalf of Mr. Harold, the class of 2007, we would like to thank you for attending the program. We would also like to take time to thank Mr. Harold for the hard work and dedication he puts into the program every year, as well as the administration, wonderful band, choir, and AHS studio.
Most importantly, we would like to thank you, the veterans, for sacrificing your lives, fighting for our freedom, and your hard work and dedication to our country. Thank you for attending, and this concludes our program.
All seniors need to report to the stage for a picture. Thank you. Seniors involved with the program.